Hello and welcome to iGCSE Success. And if you're new here, a big hello to you. I'm an English teacher and I post content here on YouTube to prepare students for their Cambridge First Language English exam. And before I start today's video, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of the support I've been getting. I started this channel a little over 2 months ago. And essentially I thought YouTube would be a great platform to help prepare my Year 11s for their first language English exam. And then of course the world became shrouded with this darkness, and of course the exams were cancelled. And of course, in light of the exams being cancelled, I just felt as though this channel would no longer serve a purpose until at least students go back to school or they start studying for their first language exam. However, we're almost at 270, I think, subscribers, and that is pretty cool. So again, thank you very much. Anyway, let's get on with today's video. Let's talk about 2C. Honestly, when I first saw the 2020 specimen paper, I completely got the changes. But what I didn't understand is 2C and then 2D, and I didn't quite get the difference. I mean, to me they both seem like writer's effect questions, and even now, having taught these skills again and again and again, I still think 2C is a miniature writer's effect question. Okay, you are asked to find or explore one example, it's worth 3 marks, it's worded slightly differently, but let's just have a look at the assessment objectives. Now, the first reading objective for question 2C is R2, reading objective 2, and that is to demonstrate an understanding of implicit meanings and attitudes. And the second reading objective is R4, and that is to demonstrate an understanding of how writers achieve their effects and influence the reader. I mean, it sounds like a writer's effect question to me. So what I'm going to do for today's video is take 2 extracts from 2 past papers, and as always I will link them in the description bar below, and I will finish by looking at question 2C from the 2020 specimen paper. So let's begin the walkthrough. Okay guys, what you are looking at is a slightly adapted question from, I want to say it's a 2019 paper titled Overcoming Fear. Anyway, I will link it in the description bar below. And again, the question is exactly the same. Use one example from the text. I, of course, change it slightly to explain what the narrator sees as the woman makes her first jump. It's all about skydiving or something from what I can remember. Use your own words in your explanation. I'm just going to quickly read it out. A young woman went first, and when she reluctantly let go, I saw her body hurtle down through empty space like a sack of cement. I remember this paper. When she let go of the strut, gravity tilted her over into an exaggerated belly flop, arms straight out and slightly above the head, legs held just above the back, spread eagled like a frog. I mean, there's so many images which you could use here. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. Let's go with hurtle down. So let's start the powerful verb hurtle. Let's put emphasizes the speed in which the young woman is falling. So I guess there's our first point. Let's put it also creates the impression that she is falling, hurtling down. Okay, let's put she is falling in a wild and uncontrollable manner. I guess that's one point, and let's link it, I guess, to the woman's experience or perhaps her feelings. So let's put, as a result, this makes it seem like a frightening experience. So let's just read that out again. The powerful verb hustle, hustle? The power of proofreading, guys. You're probably laughing then. The powerful verb hurtle emphasizes the speed in which the young woman is falling. It also creates the impression that she is falling in a wild and uncontrollable manner. As a result, this makes it seem like a frightening experience. So if I was marking this, I mean, emphasizes the speed would certainly get a mark. The fact that she's falling in a wild and uncontrollable manner, that would also get a mark, so 2 out of 3. And of course, the fact that there's that kind of explicit reference to it being a frightening experience. Okay guys, this second paper you are looking at is, I want to say it's quite an old paper. I might not be able to link this one. However, it's one that I use to prepare my students for the writer's effect question. Again, I've adapted the question slightly to fit in with 2C. And the question is, use one example from the text below to explain the conditions of the cell. Use your own words in your explanation. And I want to say, it's been a couple of years since I've used this text, and I want to say it's based on Brian Keenan, who I believe was kept hostage in Beirut. I will have to sort of check that out. Anyway, I digress. Let me just read the extract out. There was also a plastic cup in which I kept a much abused and broken toothbrush. On the mattress was an old, ragged, filthy cover. It had originally been a curtain. There was one blanket which I never used due to the heat, filth, and the heavy smell, stale and almost putrid, of the last person who had slept there. So again, lots of imagery as you would expect. This is a slightly shorter version of the extract students are directed to for a writer's effect question. Hence why I guess it's full of imagery. So I am going to go with this image. Sorry, I didn't highlight the previous one. So I kept a much abused and broken toothbrush. So let's put the fact that the man keeps an abused and broken toothbrush creates an image of how unsanitary the cell is. Okay, this man is in a cell, by the way. I will try and put the insert in the description bar if I can find it. It is a really interesting paper. Let's put also the fact that it is described as being abused suggests that it has been used by many people for, let's put over a long period of time. What can we put? Let's look at that word broken. The adjective broken suggests that, let's put, despite its condition, it is still, let's put, it is still something that is worth keeping safe. And let's just develop this a little bit more. So it is still something that is worth keeping safe, I guess, as it allows the man to, let's put, maintain some, let's put, some personal hygiene. Let's just read that again. The fact that the man keeps an abused and broken toothbrush creates an image of how unsanitary the cell is. Also, the fact that it is described as being abused suggests that it has been used by many people. Apologies for the typos, guys. I am quite tired. It's 11:20 over a long period of time. The adjective broken suggests that, despite its condition, it is still something that is worth keeping safe as it allows the man to maintain at least some personal hygiene. I mean, I think we've got more than 3 ideas there. We've got how unsanitary the cell is. It's been used by many people, so 2 marks there. It's something worth keeping safe. And of course, it allows, well, I guess this is sort of some development from this point, maintained at least some personal hygiene. And I'm pretty sure, guys, that would be enough, well, certainly if I was marking it, to get the full 3 marks. Hi guys, so what you are looking at now is the, well, 2C from the 2020 specimen paper. If you do want to have a go at perhaps analysing a different image from the short extract, I do recommend that you read the insert first, and I will link that in the description bar. So 2C, it asks you to use one example, so we're not looking at 3, that's for 2D. Use one example from the text below to explain how the writer suggests Natalia's experiences and feelings that night. Apologies if you watched my other video where I look at 2D. I'm pretty sure I was pronouncing Natalia as Natalie. Anyway, I digress. Natalia's experiences and feelings that night. Use your own words in your explanation. And I'm just going to read out the short extract. So I peered out into the street. On the other side, there was a street lamp with a dying bulb. I was opening my mouth to say what, and then I saw it. Half a block from us, an enormous shadow was moving along the street. Now, of course, it is 3 marks, so one would assume we need at least 3 points. I mean, we really need an examiner's report, really, but I guess we've got the mark scheme to go off, and it does say in the mark scheme that to get those 3 marks, you need to include a comprehensive exploration, I guess. A few things to note. I always suggest or advise my students to pick out a powerful image, which will, I guess, allow them to say at least 3 things. And if students aren't particularly good, I guess, at embedding quotations, I simply ask them to just put the quotation at the top and just start analysing straight away. So, for example, dying bulb, this image suggests, and then you would analyse that image. However, Cambridge, they really do, and I've said this time and time again, they really do appreciate students who can embed textual references effectively and I guess in a seamless manner. So I am going to embed the quotation I have selected in this short response. I think you have about 4 lines, so I do recommend that your students, or if you are a student watching this, I do recommend that you do fill those lines. However, I am going to choose the image of the enormous shadow, and those who have read the insert, I'm sure most of you have done this paper because it is the only paper that is readily available. You should know that the enormous shadow later turns out to be an elephant, another bizarre text in which iGCSE Cambridge have selected. Anyway, let's get on with the response. So I would probably keep this nice and simple. The fact that Natalia sees an enormous shadow, let's put creates an image of something lurking in the darkness. And I guess, you know, you might want to look at the connotations of shadow and whatnot. Maybe there's a sense of evil, perhaps it's intimidating, threatening, etc. I am going to zoom in, and again, I don't think there's any expectations for students to necessarily zoom into powerful words with this question. However, again, I think Cambridge really appreciates students who understand how writers craft their writing. So of course, enormous is, you know, it's a powerful adjective, so I'm going to explore that adjective. So I'm going to simply put the adjective enormous, let's put serves to emphasize how the unidentified thing, let's make reference to its size, is impressive in size, which perhaps, link it to the question, which perhaps makes it seem initially threatening to Natalia. One more point, let's put also the fact that Natalia is not able to, I guess, identify, let's put what the thing is straight away, let's put creates a sense of surprise and mystery. And I think that should be enough for 3 marks. Let's just check, guys, that we've got 3 points. So the fact that Natalia sees an enormous shadow creates an image of something lurking in the darkness. So that is definitely worthy of credit. The adjective enormous serves to emphasize how the unidentified thing is impressive, which perhaps makes it seem initially threatening to Natalia. So there's another point there. Also, the fact that Natalia is not able to identify what the thing is straight away creates a sense of surprise and mystery. And there's our 3rd point. So that's what you would be expected to do, guys, to get those full 3 marks. If you are a teacher watching this, or if you're a student watching this, I would certainly approach this question, in a very similar way as to how you would approach question 2D, which is the writer's effect question. And that's all from me today, guys. Do not worry, I will be doing the other strands to question 2, and that video will probably go live tomorrow. Until next time, bye-bye.